So you're planning a trip to Japan and you're considering a Japan Rail Pass? Let me help you out. Hey minasan, I'm Nathan and welcome to Ninja Monkey, the place for all things related to Japan, where I help you plan your perfect trips and give you Japan related ideas. If you're planning on heading to Japan, you're probably interested in the Japan Rail Pass, better known as a JR Pass. But what exactly is this so-called JR Pass that everyone talks about? Should you get one? How do you get one? And how is it used? These are all questions I am aiming to answer in this video, so make sure you watch all the way to the end, and if you find this type of video useful, then why not subscribe and join Team Ninja Monkey too. A Japan Rail Pass is a special ticket that is only available for overseas visitors, usually anyway, and can be used to travel on all major forms of transportation provided by the JR Group in Japan. This actually includes some buses, local trains, Shinkansen bullet trains, and even ferries. And with the extensive JR network pretty much available throughout the whole of Japan, you'll be able to travel from the very south of Japan all the way to the north using this pass. So yes, the JR Pass can in a way be a sort of golden ticket that can really unlock Japan if you're really wanting to explore the country. But it's also important to note that the JR Pass might not be for every traveller and might not be needed, as this really does depend on the type of trip that you will be taking. A little bit of research can help you figure out if there will be any saving in purchasing one, and or if it might be cheaper to purchase tickets individually. Inputting your route into one of the many JR Pass calculators available online will help you decide. However, from my experience, it might actually be worth paying the extra few thousand yen difference just to give you some ease of mind, access to free seat reservations, and the flexibility of catching the next train if you ever miss one. There are many types of JR passes available, and knowing the right one to fit your itinerary and the needs will be of great importance. So let's dive deeper. I'll include prices as a guide in yen, as this can easily change depending on exchange rates, and I will leave a list of websites with pricing so that you can browse and research in the comments section. Purchasing a JR Pass from your country from official partner JR resellers is usually the cheapest option. Once you purchase your pass online, an exchange voucher will be sent to you by post, sometimes even electronically, which will then be exchanged for the actual pass once you arrive in Japan. And the Japan Rail Pass can actually even be purchased, usually at a slightly higher cost, at certain JR sales offices in Japan, currently until March the 31st, 2023. It's however important to note that most JR passes, there are a few exceptions, can only be purchased by those with a temporary visitor stamp in their passports. If you're visiting Japan for tourism, you will normally receive this when you enter the country. There are many types of JR passes, but there's one to rule them all. The National JR Pass is the most expensive and is usually recommended for long distance travel, as it covers the whole of Japan and can be purchased in 7, 14 or 21 day periods. With an ordinary or a green car option, with a green car being a sort of equivalent to first class with extra leg room and more comfort, but also more expensive too. The National Pass is valid on almost all trains operated by Japan Railways, including Shinkansen, Limited, Express, Rapid and local trains. It even includes the Tokyo Monorail to and from Haneda Airport and the JR Ferry to Miyajima. You can even use some local buses, but not highway buses, unfortunately. And although the majority of Shinkansen bullet trains are included in this pass, some of the fastest are not, like the Nozomi, but this is not really a deal breaker because you will have access to the Hikari, and these trains take just a little bit longer and go along the same route. It's important to note that with the National Japan Rail Pass, special seats and compartments such as overnight trains might not be included or might require you to pay a little extra. So as a general rule, always read the terms and conditions so that you don't get caught out. And you can always ask one of the friendly JR officers at any JR train station too if you have any doubts. So next we have regional passes, which can actually be a little bit confusing, so I'm going to try to highlight only some of the main ones so that you get a general idea. Regional passes are different to the national pass in that they offer unlimited travel within a specific area or route at a cheaper cost of the national Japan Rail Pass. There are so many different regional passes that it's recommended that you really do your research before considering which pass is right for you. Regional JR passes are ideal for travelers who wish to explore a specific region of Japan. So if you're aiming to not go too far and stay within a region, this might be something that you should look into. Regional passes do, however, sometimes have some terms and conditions attached, such as not being able to use specific train services or use in consecutive or flexi-day options. There are so many regional passes that I won't be going into every single one in this video. But let's look at some popular regional passes that might be worth looking into and some that might interest you. Firstly, it's important to note that prices are actually halved for children, and those under the age of 6 will actually go for free unless they need a reserved seat. So let's have a look at the first pass that I think you might be interested in, and that is the Tokyo Wide Pass. This pass isn't as extensive as some of the others, but as a large number of tourists base themselves in Tokyo, this one is certainly worth a look if you're wanting to take a day trip out of the city across 3 consecutive days. So if you want a break from the metropolis that is Tokyo and you're thinking of visiting some of the nearby lakes, head to Nikko or Izu or the upcoming Ashikaga, and you also want access to some of the JR lines in Tokyo, then this one most certainly is one that must be considered. Team, before we dive into some of the other passes, I have a question for you. Have you ever purchased a regional or national JR pass? What was your experience like? I'd love to know in the comment section, and I'll be reading below. Let's look at a few other regional passes that might be of interest, starting at the very north of Japan. The Hokkaido Rail Pass, as the name states, is only for use in Hokkaido, Japan's northern island, and I totally recommend that you visit the island because it's awesome. And it can be purchased for 5 or 7 consecutive days with an option of purchasing a flexi ticket that will allow you for 4 trips within a 10-day period. Obviously, this pass is worthwhile if you're starting your trip in Hokkaido, as perhaps the national pass will be more affordable if you're making your way up from Tokyo. Next, we have the JR East Tohoku Pass. This one will give you 5 days of unlimited travel on trains and access to the Tohoku Shinkansen, giving you access along the JR East network all the way from Tokyo to Aomori in the north of Japan's Honshu Island. And you'll even be able to travel on the Tobu line as long as you depart and arrive on a JR line. The JR East Nagano and Niigata Pass might be one that interests you too. This one will give you 5 consecutive days of access to JR trains, including the Shinkansen Unlimited Express trains and the local JR passes in the greater Tokyo area, in Nagano and Niigata prefectures, and in the Shonai region of Yamagata prefecture too. As you can see, there are so many variations of the passes, which is why it's important that you do your homework. The Kansai Wide Area Pass gives 3 consecutive days of access to the greater Kansai, Okayama, Takamatsu, Kinosaki Onsen, and the Wakayama area. This is actually a pass that I have actually used myself in the past to travel to Tottori and to Kinosaki Onsen from Kyoto. The JR All Kyushu Pass, as the name suggests, this pass is perfect if you're wanting to explore Kyushu, which is Japan's most southern island of mainland Japan, usually less visited, and it has lots of history and some fantastic modern cities too, so it's definitely worth the trip. This pass is available in 2, 5, and 7 consecutive day options. And the last of the many passes that I will feature is a JR All Shikoku Pass. Similar to the All Kyushu Pass, the All Shikoku Pass provides unlimited travel around the island of Shikoku. You'll even have access to Ohashi Bridge that connects Shikoku to mainland Japan too. This pass is available in 3, 4, 5 and 7 consecutive day options. So team, I've only mentioned some of the regional passes to give you a sense of how they work and also give you an idea if this is something that might interest you. There are so many more to explore, and hopefully you will now be able to dive deeper yourself, especially if you know your itinerary. The JR National and Regional passes really do unlock Japan train travel. You can even use a combination of passes if you do plan well. Doing your homework is really important, and hopefully this guide will help you do exactly that. Using a JR pass is actually really easy. Visit a participating JR station to exchange your voucher or purchase your pass, and you will receive a ticket that you will simply use and collect each time you need to access a train. You might occasionally be stopped to check your passport, so make sure that you always have it on you. And please note that the passes have actually changed and it's even easier to use now. You do not need to go through the designated area to show your pass, and you can simply go through the normal ticket machines, but don't forget to collect your pass on the way through. So team, if you liked this type of video, please give it a like and consider subscribing for more guides, travel tips and unique itinerary videos, like my Ashikaga guide. Have you seen that one yet? And if you have watched all the way to the end, then prove it by commenting with a Shinkansen or train emoji, even if you have nothing to say. Like I always say, stay positive but COVID negative. Arigatou gozaimasu. Gracias. Thanks. Bye.